Welcome to another episode of Becoming More Me. I'm your host, Theresa Levine, and this is the show for high achieving entrepreneurs and professionals who want to do less and be more. Today I'm sitting down with the beautiful soul known as Rosy Marquez. She's a life and health alignment coach, speaker, and host of the Aligned Soul and Purpose podcast. She's also a client of mine. And after spending 17 years in education as a teacher, mentor, and coach, Rosy followed this deep calling to shift her life and work from the inside out. And she's been guiding other women to do the same ever since. Her work is all about helping women reclaim balance, vitality, and peace. She blends emotional healing, spiritual practice, and holistic wellness so that they can feel truly energized, grounded, and aligned. She's also a wife of 25 years, a mom of 3, and a woman who really walks her talk when it comes to creating an intentional life. And she has so much wisdom to share, and I can't wait for you to meet her. I know this is going to be such a nourishing and expansive conversation. So let's dive in with Rosy Marquez. It all starts now. Welcome to the show, Rosy. I'm so glad you're here today.
Me too. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, and my pleasure. So I always like to start these episodes by getting to know who you are outside of the work that you're passionate about and even the family that you do so much for. Like, what do you enjoy yourself? What kind of hobbies or passions or things and unique facts about you would you like to share so that we can get to know who you are?
Perfect. Yeah. So, in the process of becoming more me, I have been able to really connect with myself. And I know that I love to be outdoors. I love to be in nature. The greener, the better, right? I used to think that I was only like an ocean person, but I realized that I love like rainforest, hikes, relaxing, reading, listening to podcasts, learning information. Those are just some of the few things that I love doing.
Yeah, awesome. And you were a teacher for a long time, right? In
Mhm.
the How did your like passions and your journey unfold to what you're doing now with coaching and your podcasts and everything else?
Well, I think those were all stepping stones for me because I
Sure.
realized in the process that I love to teach. I love to learn and then I love to implement it and share it with others and support others. And that's what I did for 17 years. I started off with learning about the children's needs, then helping them learn in ways that fit their personality best, analyzing their data, and then moving forward from that. And I was very successful in that. And after about, I think, 10 years, I started thinking I wanted something more beyond the classroom because I knew that when those students were with me, we were thriving. But then the next year, maybe they didn't connect as much with their new teacher, and then they would start to regress. And that just kind of ate at me because I felt like it was my pressure to continue making sure that they continue to learn. So with that, I learned how to go beyond the classroom, and then I started mentoring teachers. I started working at a site level and a district level, analyzing data and supporting. And so now I feel like I all of those skills transfer beautifully into coaching with adults that now are requesting the help
Yeah.
versus in the past it was me knowing they needed it and they kind of needed to be there as students. They had to be there. They didn't really have a choice. But
Right. It does make a
now,
difference.
and now that people are coming to me wanting this support, it blends beautifully, in my opinion. My brain is very good at listening to a story, and then all these ideas just start to pop up of how I can support, how I can see that, which is a blessing many times. But then other times I start wanting to fix things that maybe somebody hasn't asked for me to fix it. And so I have to
Sure.
step back and be like, hey, they're not your students. So,
Right. There is a
yeah.
definite fine line between coaching and like holding
Mhm.
the space and the fixing. And it can be a hard impulse to control sometimes. But like the real
Yes.
definitely comes through like the support that you're talking about, right? And just like holding the space for somebody else to figure it out and just have that support while they do it. Because it's like we all have those answers inside of us. So
Yeah. Yeah. And even I remember with students just asking the questions like of why. And at first they would freak out and be like, what do you mean? Am I wrong? So it's like, no, just think about why. And so now doing it with adults, um, it's so interesting that they're still like a child. because they start thinking like, oh, I maybe I answered incorrectly. Like, no, just
Yeah. Gosh, I wish there was more that happened in schools to get us to explore our reasons why for
mhm.
things, because that always seems to be, at least in the coaching that I do, that's usually the disconnect between people's passion and their goals and actually following through on them. They haven't really gone deep enough into why it matters and, really that kind of, the cliche, the why that makes you cry, that really inspires you to continue with it. I think that's
Yeah.
actually a big part of coaching is pulling people into alignment with that why,
Mhm.
because once that's what you're using as your compass, it's like it leads the way along with your intuition. Do you notice that as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that once I understood that part of why I was feeling this way and giving it space to be okay to feel that way and not necessarily try to fix it or get rid of it, but understand it and see where it's coming from and why it's there and what it's teaching me. It definitely is, it brings you so much more peace.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we first started working together in the Becoming More You program, and I had you do vision casting,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Like pulling up the reasons why all these goals and things that you're working towards are important, and then kind of being fed it in a way that really like gets to the heart of the matter every day. I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I like leading with practices like that, because once we're connected to the why, then it makes sense to like root out all the things that are underlying it and make it easier to achieve what you're headed for. So,
Yeah.
what is one of like the biggest lessons that you've learned on your own healing journey that now kind of maybe informs the way that you support other people?
Definitely, it's listening, pausing, and then speaking. Because in that moment, when that has happened to me, then I feel heard. And it relieves some pressure of like trying to answer right away. And so practicing that with other people now, I can see that they also feel seen. And it just brings you this comfort or it releases some of the pressure. Like, say, if it's an uncomfortable conversation,
Sure.
it releases some of the tension that you're having because you're not like interrupting the sentence midway. Because once that happens, and the other person is trying to do the same thing, and so I think that's one has been one of the biggest lessons for me is really listening to the other person. Um, and showing that you're listening by not quickly answering their question or answering their comment. Just
Yeah.
kind of, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
for sure one of
And
the,
but yeah,
go
okay.
ahead.
You blend together like in your own coaching and things, emotional healing, spiritual, holistic wellness. And so how does that, what am I trying to say here? What does alignment mean to you, I guess, is kind of what I'm getting to. Like, how can somebody tell when they're out of it, and how do the things that you like to weave together either help you or people that you work with to get back into alignment?
Yeah, so one of the things that I remember feeling often was like this tingling feeling around my heart and my forearms. And so later on, I realized that that was like anxiety creeping in, of this fear of I don't know, or constantly feeling like, okay, what are they thinking as I'm talking? Because my career has been speaking in front of groups of people for so long that I was always in that, like, what are they seeing? What are they hearing from my voice? My voice is not sounding so, um, how could I say, not stern, but, well, gosh,
Grounded?
grounded. Yeah, I guess it would be grounded. And for a long time, it was because I was speaking to what other people wanted me to speak on.
Yeah,
And
that
so
makes sense.
So then it started feeling that more often, those feelings of like the tingling on my forearms around my heart. And so I started realizing, okay, something's wrong. I love speaking about this. I love education. I love it. But then when it comes to it, I start feeling like this. And why is it? And so then the more I started trying to understand, I realized it's because it's not what I want to say. It's partly what I want to say, but I also want to add these other things, and I'm not being allowed to be that. I'm
Mm.
not being allowed to say all of that because that's too much.
So
And
it's
you're going
not
to scare
totally
off people.
genuine, not totally authentic. So
Right.
there's the part that's out of alignment.
And so I think that your body starts to tell you these, it gives you these messages. And so
Sure.
then I started realizing that was part of it. My mom and family from my mom's side have all have migraines. And so I thought I was blessed because I didn't have migraines until about my 20s. But then they started becoming something that I was having every day, like
Mm.
losing eyesight, like my right eye, I couldn't see out of it, nausea, like these were intense migraines. And I was constantly drinking painkillers, over-the-counter painkillers because I couldn't handle it. I couldn't function. And I still needed to be a mom and all these other things. So after months and months of that, and my daughter telling me, like, Mom, you always have a headache. I realized, okay, something is not right. So I was seeing all these physical signs and this feeling in my heart where I felt like with my soul, my yeah, my soul, my subconscious telling me like something's not right. And so I started wanting to learn more about it. Like, okay, what is it? My body's giving me all these signs. I'm not happy. That question itself, when somebody would ask you, like, well, what do you need to be happy? I would literally get choked up and start crying. And so then all of these physical signs were telling me like something's not right. So as I started looking into different people, I started learning about even about your physical health, being so connected to your emotions. And I always, being around my parents, created so many different emotions when I was around them. I was always a crier, but it was so intense. And I wanted to understand why. Why can't I have a
Yeah.
conversation with my parents without crying? Why
Yeah.
do I get like this warmth just like instantly rushing my body? And so I wanted to know more. And I would only feel peace when I would go to church. But as soon as I would step out, it was back to that. And so I thought, like, this can't be what God wants. This can't be it. And so I just started digging into it. And so I noticed how everything was connected. Like, my emotions, my fear of things, all the physical symptoms I was having, this idea of like questioning higher power and, even,
Experiences earlier in your life, all that.
yes. And so all of those things I started realizing they're all one. Like I've always known about mindset, about making connections with others. And so I always had tools to help me with my mindset, but it was like I was using them separately. Like this
Mm.
is my moment for spirituality. When I'm at church, this is my moment for mindset when I am doing like breathing techniques. This is my moment to take care of my physical body when I exercise or eat different foods. But it wasn't, I had to connect it all. And once I started connecting it all, I started feeling this sense of peace. And even when I get these rushes of warmth falling, going through my arms and my heart, I know right away, like, okay, that's your body telling you some slow down and think about it. What's happening? What happened a few days ago? And then I'm able to then analyze all of that and use the tools that I use with clients on myself. And even many of the ones that I learned with you, like EFT and visualizing, has they have become some of my favorite because, like as I mentioned in one of our sessions, when I went to Vegas for a cheer tournament, they put us in a very high rise, and the elevator was kind of shaking, so I had a panic attack. Literally, that's what it was. And so I went into the restroom. I searched up an EFT round of tapping, and I did it, and that calmed me down. And so I'm like, wow, these modalities show you like everything is connected. You can't do one without the other. And if you don't understand these perspectives, then you're missing out on a key part of it. And so then you're constantly out of alignment. Like you're always feeling like there's something more. And so putting all these pieces together have helped me. Um,
Absolutely. And
and
beautifully put. I think that's what a lot of people trip on is kind of like what you said, where like the teaching was leaving out the spirituality or the spirituality was leaving out other things. And but we've been taught to kind of, fit into these different boxes in different places and to approval seek and, gosh, we can't bring spirituality where spirituality is not supposed to be and so forth. But it's like it's who we are.
yeah.
And I don't know. I can't think of any better time in our time here on this planet yet that we need more of it than ever. And I notice how much different better people feel as they incorporate all of those parts together in all of the things that they do. Just think we have been conditioned to approach things more singularly,
Yeah.
and like we can't live in those little silos of
Mhm.
just being these parts of ourselves. I think it's also like if we kind of like shift over to like business model things, I think it's also why people struggle the most with creating a niche for
Mhm.
their coaching and things like that, because it feels like you're cutting off these parts of yourselves to say something really specific and that it's not encompassing the whole, but they can't see past it, that they get to help with the whole as soon as they attract the right people through that smaller portal.
Exactly. Yes, yes. So that is exactly it. So at first I thought, okay, I know my strongest area of expertise is mindset work and analyzing data, whatever that data may be, connected to somebody's goal and go from there. And so as I was working through that, I realized like I have to incorporate all of these things because all of these things matter. And yes, there's so many people that don't understand those things yet. Like say for example, even with like disease or illness, they use that as like, okay, but I have a thyroid problem. And it's like, okay, but you have way more than a thyroid problem. Let's go and analyze all of these different things. And so it's exactly that. Sometimes people want like a physical transformation. That's what they're seeking. But beyond that physical transformation, so many other things have to be put in place and worked on in order for it to happen.
Right.
Um,
Have you joined the Becoming More Me community over on School yet? It is one of the fastest growing distraction free platforms for learning and connection. And it's where the magic's happening for the Becoming More Me community as well. Inside, you will find a high vibe circle of heart centered, ambitious entrepreneurs and professionals doing deep work to become who they truly feel called to be in life, in business, in love, health, and wealth, and doing it in ways that feel aligned, authentic, and full of pleasure. The community is packed with tons of valuable resources too that you can start using right away, as well as guidance to find the ones that are going to help you so that you don't need to waste time. We're talking tools, trainings, and practices to support your growth, all for free. Plus, you can find info on working with me more deeply, whether it's through one-on-one coaching, small group experiences, or the Becoming More Me with EFT program, as well as information on upcoming workshops and other events. To join, head over to school.com/discovery. That's SKOOL.com/discovery. Type in my name, Theresa Levine, and you will find the Becoming More Me community right there. Click on it to join. I can't wait to welcome you to the community.
and
Yeah,
so, yeah. I-
it's interesting. A lot of things are pinging into my head right now to talk about, especially because I know that you and I have both been interested in that physical transformation. You know, I used to be a health and fitness and nutrition coach before I went deeper. And then the very way that we were introduced was through a health and fitness program with
Yes.
Bomb Mom Melissa Vogel, who has been on the
Yes.
show, I've been on hers, and she's amazing. And we were essentially introduced through the book club when she did that. So it's interesting because like your path with me is like very much like my ideal client's path, like where we're introduced through something like that, and then they read the book, we, experience each other a little bit, and then this whole relationship develops after that where we're like untangling things and making big subconscious and nervous system breakthroughs. So with that in mind, you know, did you get to a point with your own like physical transformation where it just felt like it's got to be something else that shifts?
Mhm. Well, so it kind of was working backwards for me because I met Melissa after going to a retreat with Dr. Anna Marie. And so I was already
Yeah.
going
So
through.
people recognize that name too, Dr. Anna Marie Frank.
Yes. And so I was already going through like a spiritual awakening is what I call it because like all of these feelings just became so more like so intense. And it was like I couldn't let it go. And people would always tell me, specifically at work, like, oh, there you go, Rosa, you're gonna go rock the boat again. And it's like, yes, I need to rock the boat because this cannot be it. And so there was something always a part of me that I've always been this way. I've always been, since I was a child, like just different all the time. And because of that, like I've been isolated. Say like in high school, people used to say, "Oh, you're so stuck up. You just want to be better than everybody." And it's like, no, it's not that I want to be better, is that I know there is better. And so we need
Right.
to strive for that. And I want to find it, whatever that is. And so I've always been on this journey to find joy, to find happiness. Maybe because I didn't have it in my household. I don't know. So I was a little backwards in that sense because I was already going through the spiritual awakening part of it. And
Right.
so I met Melissa and I knew I needed, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to go back to the physical transformation. It's always been a part of me, but my mind had just taken over so much of my body. I needed to take care of that first. And so then I read your book, and as I was reading your book, I was like, this woman knows me. She's explaining everything, and I never thought that I was an ADHD person, but everything you explained was exactly who I've always been. And so your authenticity in the book, and then meeting you in our on our Zoom call with Melissa, just kind of I knew I needed to work with you. And I think I diverted from your question, but
I don't even remember what my question was. So we'll just take the conversation wherever it's from here. But yeah, I
so
think,
yeah, it was a little backwards. It wasn't like physical, then spiritual. I was already with the spiritual, but
yeah.
physical had always been. And so it was just blending it back together.
Yeah, there were different
Yeah.
times in my life when I ebbed and flowed out of it, but in
Mhm.
the time before becoming more me, Blossom, like health and fitness coaching was kind of where I was sitting most of the time. And for me, it was kind of like, oh, mindset's not enough. You
Mhm.
know, like mindset's cool and all, but it's not actually what gets you from like the knowing to the action.
Mhm.
And that was being mirrored back to me every day with clients that either, self-sabotage their workouts, their meal plans, just showing up in general for anything related to their health and fitness. And I was like, okay, so what is it? Because it's like obviously they've got the tools, they've got
Mhm.
the resources, they even
Mhm.
have, the equipment, the time, the space, all of that. So what
Yeah.
is it? And that's kind of where I was like, I've got to go deeper. And then once I went deeper, I couldn't just go back to
Yeah.
any of
Yeah.
stuff the way that it was. So I'd love to hear about how like your experience with like EFT or hypnotherapy like felt like the first time you tried it.
For me, EFT felt a release like, right away. That one, like if somebody needed some convincing, like I needed no convincing for that. And it was just to me, it was one of those unexplainable things where it just worked.
Explain it. It's
I
exactly
know
how I
why.
feel. I was like, how do I even explain this weird thing that just happened?
Yes,
I,
yes, yes.
I feel totally different.
And you did a great like job putting those the curriculum together so that you can learn the science behind it because I know there's a lot of people are not easily as convinced with these things and they want to know the science behind it. And maybe that's what helped it just flow for me because I read the science behind it, but I've tried it with clients and I haven't done like that deep teaching of the science and it's worked just the same. And it
Yep.
just makes me smile because I'm like, I felt the same thing that you're feeling.
Yeah, I
Now
mean,
with,
it just works. I always say you don't have to believe it, you don't have to understand,
right.
but if you'll try it, and if you'll try it with somebody who can actually personalize it for you, because a lot of people just like go on YouTube and look for any old tapping around.
Mm.
If it wasn't
Mhm.
created for the blocks that you have,
Uh-huh.
it still might get some great results from it. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of great tapping rounds. I've got tons of them on my YouTube channel, but
Uh-huh.
you get the best results when you can speak specifically to what's going on with you.
Yeah.
not not everybody knows exactly what's going on with you, so they can't phrase
Yes.
it the way that you could, knowing your
Mm.
exact issues. But yeah, it is. It's like really kind of a magical feeling when
Yeah.
things can
Yeah.
change that quickly, and it's like,
Mm.
whoa, maybe it's not
Mm-hmm.
after all, or whatever the case may be, or you don't fear the heights or the elevator or whatever.
Yeah.
I think one of the coolest things with EFT is being able to try it on things that are very tangible. You know,
Mm.
like when somebody is skeptical, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, let's do it when you have a headache or a backache or, something, a craving or something that's actually tangible where you can feel and see that result right away instead of like
Yes.
a money block or that kind of a thing where yes, we will make a shift and things will change, but it may take a little while for life to represent the evidence of that.
Yes, yes. And I think with that, with the like the hypnotherapy part of it, it was more of that for me. Like I thought I was doing it wrong because I wanted to feel even more hypnotized, I guess. I wasn't letting go of the part that you're still going to be in control. But then the second time we tried it, and I just kind of released that of it doesn't matter if you feel completely like in a different world or not. Like the images that are going to come to your mind, they're coming to your mind for a reason. And that's when
Right.
it became kind of like a mind-blowing experience for me because it was things that I didn't expect to come up. And I'm like, why is that image coming up? And then also coming, one of the interesting ones is that anytime I've done another session with myself, this one of the images that continues to reoccur, it happens every time. And so it makes it, I'm curious about this one place because I've never been there. But it's just an open field.
Is it a place that I took you in a session?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. It's like this open field and it's sunny. The flowers are not necessarily completely green, but they're not dry, and it's warm. And I'm like just walking out there. But I went to another session and the same scene came up, and so I'm like, where is this place? I'm like, why is this place continuing to come up? But I
Well, I
realized
can't
it's
wait because
just
one of these
peace.
days you're actually going to like send me a picture and you're going to be in the place and you're going to be like,
I found it.
I think things like that. It always is the case. And I've had it happen with plenty of clients before where they visualize something like that. And then whether it's a week later, 2 years later, whatever, they're like, there's the place up
hmm
there,
Yeah.
and or a destination that they were planning on getting to or whatever. I mean, they might not have even known what the place was like you, but it's like
hmm
you'll find it, you visualize it, your thoughts create things, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then even just the feeling that I have there, um, like I'm able to bring that like any moment. So if I'm feeling any sort of anxiety or fear or whatever, am I something that I'm uncomfortable with, I can just close my eyes and see that place and like I begin to feel that peace. And so I think that's really awesome because I feel like it something during those hypnotherapy sessions unlocked this ability to do that. Where you can constantly take your, like, not constantly, but instantly be able to take yourself to a place like that. Whereas before it would take a lot longer. I started doing these breathwork sessions that were about 30 minutes long. And at first, I really needed them to be that length because when they weren't, I wasn't able to fully surrender to the moment. And now, I can just think of the image and I'm instantly there. And so I think that's amazing because, like, I'm just so in tune with my body now. And I know
Right.
that was one of the things that we had talked about is just being able to, I wanted my intuition to be like, shake my face and be like, hey, listen to me. It's me talking to you. And it's not like that.
I think you wanted your intuition to be the logical, rational voice of your mind when that's the case.
Right, yes. But then being able to, I know I'm using the same words, but I don't have any better ones, but to be able to surrender to those feelings. And my physical body is just so intense. It always has been. Like I've been very sensitive to touch always. But now like I can see a person and I feel something. And before I would feel it, but then I would start doubting myself, like, no, you're just being judgmental or you're doing this. And now I'm like, no, I just know these things. And I don't know what it is. And I don't know like specifically what I know, but I know when it's like either I don't want to be around the person or when I feel some sort of compassion for the person, or where that fixing type of person tries to come through and it's like you need to connect to that person because they need you.
Mhm.
um, I get those feelings, and before, like I said, I would just like shove them away and just try to be normal. But I'm like, no, if something comes to me and I want to ask a question, um, I'm going to ask it. And many times it's like, wow, how did you know?
Hey, I'm just popping in to remind you real quick. You don't have to keep navigating the overwhelm, self sabotage, or emotional chaos alone. If you've been feeling stuck, whether it's in your business, your relationships, or with your own health, there is a next aligned step. And I would love to help you ditch the overwhelm and find it. You can book a totally free, no pressure insight call with me. This is a quick 15-minute one-on-one call where we will zero in on what's really been keeping you stuck and I will share simple but powerful insights that can help you move forward with way more confidence, ease, and alignment. All you need to do is head to gamechangingconversation.com and grab your spot. I truly can't wait to connect with you and support you in your next chapter of becoming. Now let's get back to the episode.
Um, and one specific example, one of our a family member had lost their job. And as soon as I saw him, like I felt something was wrong. And I didn't say anything and I let it go. But in the evening, I asked my husband, I said, "Hey, what's going on with this person? I felt this." And he's like, "Wow, you felt that? How did you know?" And then he tells me the story. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how I knew, but I knew that that person was feeling pain in that moment. And I just knew it." And so it's
That
just really
happens a
neat
lot
that,
too. Yeah, it's
yeah.
kind of eerie and kind of awesome at
Hmm.
the same time,
Hmm.
for sure. Are you
Yeah.
able to identify any of like the subconscious patterns or like the nervous system loops that you feel like we were able to like rewire since doing that work, or that you were able to, get some release with?
Yeah, definitely when I start feeling the sense of wanting to procrastinate on something, or in the past I would say like, oh, I like to procrastinate because I work really well under pressure, and like my best work comes out when I'm under pressure. And even though that's yes, there was some evidence of that. And now I start to ask myself, like, okay, what is it? Like, why, what are you afraid of? Most of the time, it's fear. It's fear of, again, the judgment or yeah, pretty much the judgment. That's been the recurring thing for me. Fear of judgment and wanting to do it right, and wanting to be as perfect as possible. But now I'm able to identify it and start saying, questioning myself, like, what's going to happen? So what happens if people don't like your video? They're just going to scroll. So what's really going to happen? Nothing physically is going to happen to you because you put out a video that people are not loving. Or if people think that what you're saying is silly, what's going to happen? Maybe they're going to talk about you and what's going to happen to you. So being able to tell my body, like, you're safe, you are physically safe regardless of what people are thinking of you. It's okay. Just do it if it's what you want to do.
Yeah,
That has helped me tremendously to just, I don't know, I just get these urges of like, I want to say this. And so I'm just going to turn on my phone and I'm going to say it to the camera and
absolutely.
and just releasing that, and being okay with it. Like I'm okay with it. So
Yeah, I think I speak for a lot of the procrastinators that are in my community that, feel, oh, I do my best work under pressure. I was actually just working with a client on that the other day, and what we were doing was rewiring that very belief. Like, I believed I worked better under pressure, and we used this process to like totally release that one. That was something new that I've been doing, and it was amazing to see like the change after that, and like how she actually didn't relate to it at all anymore.
yeah,
And then you start showing up differently. And so
yeah.
that's actually really cool. And has anything changed in how you show up for your family, your husband, your clients, or even yourself since going through this program?
Yes, one of my favorite sayings that you taught me is the only thing I need to control is how I respond to situations. And understanding like where this control was coming from, understanding that the reason why I wanted to be in control was because I didn't feel safe. And I only felt safe when I was in control. And so being able to identify that has been helping me not be in control all the time and just letting it be, and being okay with it. Because sometimes we say, well, I'm just going to let it be. But then you're not okay with it. And so it's just kind of like brewing up inside and then you explode. And so truly being able to say, like, I don't need to control that. I don't need to control the way that you put away the dishes because
Mhm.
the dishes are put away. And that's one less thing that I have to do. Or being able to release the control with the way that a vacation is going. Like it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're present, you're enjoying your moment, and if you're not enjoying it, being able to speak up about it and seeing where it's coming from. Is it coming from a place of control, or is it really coming from a place where boundaries are not being respected? Um, so
You
being
did really good work with your boundaries.
yes, yes. Um, and even understanding like why I wanted those boundaries. Because once I kind of understood that part of it, then they became kind of like, you know what, I really don't care about that. It was more because I wanted this specific boundary to be respected, but the rest of it, I don't really care about that. So, um, being able to pinpoint what is it exactly that was bothering me from whatever situation was happening, um, has again like added to the peace that I feel. And that was always something that I was searching for. Like I want to feel peace everywhere I go. And I understand like sometimes people might say like, well, there are going to be difficult times. No, I understand that. I'm not saying I want to be happy all the time. I'm saying I want to feel peace because I can feel peace through a situation that maybe not as positive. Um, but being able to just feel that peace
Yeah.
and
And I love that
understand.
you said I don't want to be happy all the time. I think some people think that's somehow the goal, and I don't want to be
Yeah,
happy all the time either. I actually
yeah.
very much enjoy the ebb and the flow of like the highs and the lows, the
Mhm,
sadness and the like the grief and all the things and the way they mingle together. I think that's like
mhm.
what makes the human experience so rich, and it makes
Yes.
you really appreciate all
Mhm,
the different, things that you go through. And I think there's a lot of good to be found in those times when you're in those lower frequencies or,
mhm.
going through sadness or having a difficult time or whatever. It's always
Yeah.
part of the process.
Yeah, and seeing like how is what is this supposed to teach me? What is this?
Mhm.
What is coming to light because of the situation?
Right.
Seeing it from that perspective instead of like forcing it to be. Um, I think it's again the surrendering, just surrendering to
Mhm.
the moment and surrendering to the outcome. And that doesn't mean that I just let everything just go and oh well that didn't work out, so it's okay. And it's like no, what is it? Why didn't it work out? What was it trying to teach me? Or is there something more that I need to be aiming for and that's why this didn't work out? Or am I going to it from a place not out of love? And more out of fear. So my brain is just always constantly thinking that way, but I'm now able to reframe it in the sense where it's not like, okay, that didn't work, so I'm gonna do it more, and I'm gonna do it more intently, and I'm gonna do more work and more effort, and then it's gonna happen. And it's not always that.
Yeah.
I can slow down and
Hmm. For
yeah.
sure. I might have to say that again for the people in the back or something because
Mhm.
it's one of
Yeah.
those things that we all forget. Like,
Mhm.
I, I swear every week there's at least one session I do with somebody where it's like they're just so afraid to slow down. Like everything's gonna fall apart. Whether it's, the kids won't turn out the way that they're supposed to if I'm not there micromanaging all the things, or
Yeah.
I'm never going to create the financial success I want to if I go on vacation or if I, take a season and just kind of chill out a little bit or whatever else. I think it all comes down to a misunderstanding around time
Mhm.
and what can happen in time, and that's just a thing we made up anyway,
Right.
and we really like overestimate what we can do in a day or a week, but we
Mhm.
severely underestimate the impact we have in a month or a year or a decade or whatever else when those things all start compounding.
Oh,
And
yes.
gosh, it would be really sad to think that you just had to go, go, go and do for decade after decade and didn't get to actually enjoy and, be in the pleasure of the outdoors or what all the things that you enjoy and love in order to, make those things happen. It's such a lie that so many of us have been conditioned with. I won't say we all
Yeah.
have, but a lot of us
Yes.
have been brought up to believe we have to do and we have to work hard and we have to struggle, we have to strive, and rest is for lazy people, and it just exhausting.
Yeah, yeah. See, those are the types of things like that was me. That was me for 40 years of doing so much all the time, like constantly. There was no moment, like even when I'm trying to go to sleep, I'm already thinking about the next morning and um
Yeah, how you're going to prove yourself.
yeah, yeah, and how to prove my worth from the outside in. And being able to do the opposite now, I do get more things done. And I do get to enjoy more things. And there is more coming to us.
Yeah,
Um,
and you're magnetizing it.
Mhm. Yeah,
You're
yeah,
attracting it.
definitely. Slowing down, and we've heard like these parables for forever, like the race between the turtle and the rabbit. And we say it, but then we don't do it. And we teach it, but then we don't embrace it. And
Yeah.
so It's like, do you really understand it? Because if you truly sat there with that information and started analyzing your life, like, what are you doing? Because I know that we're constantly working, 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 because then when I retire, I can have fun. It's like, what if I don't make it then?
Right,
What if I don't
exactly.
make it to that?
Find
You
time to
know?
retire every day while
Yeah.
in the flow of creating the dream. Because I don't know about you, but I love my work. I don't see an age like, well, when I'm, this age, I'm not going to do it anymore. Who knows what it will have evolved to at that point. But
Right.
whatever it is, I'm going to be probably pretty excited about it continuing.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
need to just sit around and, you know, retire. Like,
Yeah.
not the to me in any way, shape, or form. Like,
Mm-hmm.
journey be fun because I plan on doing some version of it probably until I die.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's just who we are. But even the sense of like going on vacation, like when you make your home your vacation or your this place that you love, you don't
Mhm.
really need to go somewhere else. But it's
Right.
because those vacations that we want so badly is because we're so unhappy with what we have surrounding us.
Yeah.
But when you fix that, then your vacation can be anywhere, and it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be, like I know
I
the
find
the
it as
world is
enjoyable to go away as it is to come
right.
back.
Right. Yeah.
Have an inviting allure to them for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
Back from a vacation a couple of weeks ago, I was just as happy to get home as
Yes.
excited to go away.
Right.
So I think
Yeah.
that kind of balance is really important.
Hmm.
So tell us about your podcast. So, I mean, I think
Okay.
time that like we were working together that you launched it and
Hmm.
it's called Aligned Soul and Purpose, right?
Yes.
And so what inspired it and what do you hope your listeners are walking away with each episode?
So it's back to that same idea of always loving to speak, but being told what to say or what not to say. And so this was my way of just saying what I felt like saying in a way that I knew would support women out there struggling with the things that I struggled with. And so I just hope that women feel seen. That's my hope for it, for them to feel seen and to be able to feel that you can make a difference now. You don't need to wait till later to enjoy your life and just inspire them to love themselves and find what they love. That's truly what I want for that podcast, just to be able to share insights into my life and to make women feel seen and valued and empowered to become
Absolutely. That's
themselves.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on getting that
Thank
started. I know it
you.
can be a little daunting at first, and then you kind of get rolling, and it's so much fun. But not everybody that wants to have a podcast actually does the thing. So credit you for that and everything that you're doing there because it's a great show. So what's next for you? Anything exciting coming up that we should know about?
So I'm still working on creating a new masterclass. I did one a few weeks ago just as a way to get back into the groove of things for myself and into that teacher mode again. And,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed it. And so I want to do it again and hopefully have more people join us live because the energy that you get from people being there
Oh yeah.
live is just so powerful. And so I want to do that again. And that'll be coming up hopefully at the end of August. So I will be posting on my social media to advertise it more. And that's what I
Tell us
have.
what your social media handle is for
Um,
Instagram. People can find you.
Yeah. So my Instagram handle is Aligned Soul and Purpose. And my Facebook is actually just my name, Rosy Marquez. I do have like a business page there as well, but I post more on my personal. And my website is Aligned Soul Life Coaching. Yes. I have them all kind of similar, but not exactly the same. So Aligned Soul Life
We'll make
Coaching.
sure you get the right link in
Yes.
there. But yeah, I have so
Yes.
many websites for things too. I mess them up. I literally did my last podcast episode that I recorded. It's probably not the last one that you're listening to if you're listening to this show, but
Mhm.
I I recorded it and I gave the link for my workshop for people to register. And it's a .org, not a .com, but I gave the .com and like my editor's like, "You need to re-record it." I was like, I was away at the like 4th of July. I'm like sending like voice notes trying to match the tone and everything. I not know my websites at this. Like, just put it in the show.
Yes. Yes.
It happens. It can get a little crazy once you have all these different links and websites and places for people to go. But that's the best site for people to find you.
Yes, yes, it is. Um,
Awesome.
and I'm on Facebook and on Instagram every day. So definitely, if they have any questions or would like more information, reach out through there. I do respond on a daily basis.
Yeah, reach out to Rosie. She's a gem, and I'm sure she can help you with whatever it is that you're going through right now. And her podcast is great too. Is there anything else that you wanted to share, or any final words of advice for people who might just be beginning their journey that you'd like to end with?
Just remember to find out what you love. Because sometimes we just forget. We forget that we are allowed to love things that other people around us don't. And even the fact that we're ourselves before we are a mom, a wife, a sister, and everything else. Like, who are you? Once you
And
find that, yeah,
40s, that becomes a big question for a lot of people because a lot of women in their 40s have forgotten who they
yeah,
are beneath the other roles and labels and things like
yeah,
that. So
yes,
that's awesome advice. And
yes,
yeah, people like Rosie, people like me can also help you figure out how to rediscover that because that I know is
yes.
daunting too in and of itself. So
Hmm.
awesome advice. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom and your story and your journey with all of us today, Rosie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for helping me on this journey. And I hope to continue working with you because it's just been amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And to all of you listening, I know you have so many choices when it comes to the podcast you choose. So thanks for listening to Becoming More Me. Thanks for spending some of your precious time with me today. If you loved this episode, please leave a review or simply share it with someone else who would get great benefit from it too. If you share on social media, please tag me so I can personally connect and thank you. Until next time, keep taking bold and brave steps towards becoming more of who you want to be in this world. You are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough. And if your inner critic is still trying to argue with those facts, hit me up. We've got work to do.